Could I have everyone take their seat? If you could silence your cell phone so it doesn't disturb what we're doing right now, except for the gentleman in the front. Welcome and good afternoon. I'm so happy you have come out and spent a couple of hours of your time to see our presentation and meet our guests. In order to start this meeting properly, I would be honored if our Chief of Police, Matt Hamner, would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, would you all please stand and repeat with me the pledge? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. I knew I would get kind of sidetracked, so I'm going to read and look at you at the same time. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle Walter. I have lived in Sun Lakes for 18 years and have seen many changes here. I live on the north side, and as all of you know, the homeless is becoming a real issue for us. I thought it would be a good idea to start this community awareness program. I want to keep our residents involved and informed. We are not here to patrol Sun Lakes. That is why we have Securitas to patrol our districts. We came to Sun Lakes because this is a beautiful place to retire and play golf and enjoy our many incredible amenities. Our main goal is to keep you safe, updated on incidents that happen here in Sun Lakes, present programs to keep you informed, and have guest speakers to let you know what is happening in our community here in the Pass area. The idea is, if you see something, say something. We are forming a great relationship with our police department and with Securitas. And with that, I would like to introduce our Chief of Police, Matt Hamner.
They say before you speak, you should always start off with a little humor. So, you know, I've been a police officer for 32 years, so I thought of a few jokes I've heard as a police officer, and not real appropriate sometimes. But, you know, Bob Walter, who the one that called me, he's got a great sense of humor. So I told Bob, I go, hey, give me a couple jokes I can share. You know, I want to lighten the mood a little bit. So he told me a few jokes, and now I got a few more I can't tell in public. Okay, that's not true. Just in case Bob gets upset and calls my boss, I was only kidding. But no, I'm glad I'm here, and I'm thankful. I'm grateful because I want you guys to know me, to know the police department, to know that if you need something from us, call us. I've brought along with me my Lieutenant Avila, who's been here 15 years. He knows operations. I will be the first to tell you, when someone asks me a specific question, you know, can you get your license taken away if this? I'm like, good question. Lieutenant, can you? Yes. Yes, you can. So he's my resource. He's worked the street. He knows the laws. He enforces them. It's not that I don't, but I'm administrative, right? You know, I'm not as thin as I used to be. But anyway, so I can't run as fast. But a lot of my job is administrative. But I don't know the answer. I know who to go to find an answer. And that's what we do, right? So, but I want you to know you can come talk to me. You can call me. You can email me. You've got a concern, a question. You think there's something we're not doing very well? Tell me. I'm good with that. I had a young man. His name was... can't remember his real first name. He goes by Taco Martinez. And we towed a car that we shouldn't have. The plates were expired if you looked at them, but it was during the pandemic when you ordered them online. He hadn't got a sticker yet, but the car was up to date. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, LT. We towed the car. We shouldn't have. So he got on Facebook, you know, stupid police department, what are they doing? Blah, they don't know how to do their job. So I got on Facebook. I go, you're right. We messed up. We really screwed up. You're 100% right. Come see me. We'll refund you. We'll take care of you. You know what he told me when he got to my conference room after I talked to him? He goes, I thought you brought me in here to arrest me because I criticized you in public. I go, no. That's not how we do things here. We were wrong. We apologize. We got every penny back to him that we took from the tow, and he didn't miss out on one penny. But we were wrong. We messed up. And the problem is you had to scroll like 8 pages before you found out the plates were up to date. Under normal circumstances, we would have known that. But during the pandemic, things changed a little bit for all of us, right? So we made a mistake. So then he takes a picture with me in front of my big hanging badge in the office, and he goes, me and the chief are homies, man. We're good buddies. So I don't know if he did that so he would never get another speeding ticket, but regardless, we built that relationship, and that's what I tell you here. If we do something that you think we could have done better, let me know. We'll try to do better. And if there's something we're doing right, I'd like to know that too, because when these guys do a good job, I'd like to put in their personnel file they do a good job. So I know you brought us here to talk about homeless. I don't want to bore you with all the other things. So you should know some things we're doing. Do I have a minute to share those things or not? You can stop me at any point. I tend to pontificate and bloviate and get told to cut it short. What I want to tell you, though, is one thing that we're doing here that when I arrived here over 3 years ago, I was told that our solvability rate for murders was very low. That's bad. You don't want murderers running around thinking they got away with it. That's the most violent crime, right? So we are now the national average for solving murders in America. And you should know, it's not here, but nationwide, the largest one-year increase in murders has just happened in America. In the history of our 245, what are we at, almost 250 years country? 30% increase in murders in America in 1 year. The largest increase in the history of our country. That's scary. That means we had 4,000 more victims last year murdered. Typically, we're around 16,000. We're now close to 20,000. Never before have we ever had a 30% increase in 1 year, ever. Now, in Banning, I was told when I got here that we had a low solvability rate. The national average for solving murders is 61%. Anybody like to guess what Banning's is in the last 5 years? 93. We have thank you. Goes to my staff. We have solved 13 out of 14 murders. Arrested. In addition, we solved 3 cold case murders. Do you guys remember the big billboard on I-10? It was Bradley Cunningham. Do you know who murdered me? Did you guys see him? His picture was up. His parents put that up. We locked those bad guys up too. They're in prison. In addition to that, I was told that Banning had a reputation, or perception, I should say, because perceptions are not always reality, right? There's an old quote, and excuse me for using the term Indian. I have a lot of Indian blood in my system, so when I use that word, please excuse it. It says, all Indians walk in single file. How do I know this? Because the one I saw did. We can't judge people by the actions of one person, right? So we have to be very careful. Sometimes our perceptions aren't reality. We think they are because it happened to me, right? So the perception, I'm not saying it was or wasn't, but the perception in Banning was we didn't solve black murders. That if the victim was black, we didn't work as hard. That was the perception. Since I've been here, we have solved 2 cold case black murders. And so when I get involved in the black community of Banning, I tell them, I go, hey, we're working, we're doing this. And so they feel a lot better about, okay, it's a different time. So I just want you to know that we're doing everything we can to make sure Banning stays safe. Are we doing enough? No. Can we do more? Yes. Always do more, right? That's what my dad was. Oh, I got 4 A's and 1 B. You could have done better. That was his attitude, right? Some of us had those parents, and I love my dad to death, but that was his attitude. So we're trying, and we're trying to get our staffing up. We've been authorized more staff, but we haven't hired them. It takes over a year to say, okay, you can hire a new guy. Well, that's going to be over a year before that guy's even on the street solo, what we call solo, by himself, but he's still an inexperienced officer, right? Some of the philosophies that I have here is that tickets aren't always the answer. Studies show that educating people brings a higher compliance rate. So we don't just run around and issue tickets. Now, if the officer walks up to the window and you give him the 1-finger wave, you might get a ticket. I'm just telling you, probably not the best way. But I teach my officers, and the reason I do that, my mom and dad had 15 children. I know that's not a very large family. But we were driving a 1962 or 64 Plymouth Valiant in Dixon County, Tennessee. My mom wore a muumuu that snapped down the front and a pair of flip-flops, and there was no seatbelt laws in the 1970. So I'm sitting on my brother's lap behind my mom, and the Dixon County Sheriff's deputy walks up, because does anybody in here remember when you put inspection stickers on cars? Right? Yeah, if your tires were bald or your muffler was loud, you couldn't get, and you got written a ticket for that, even though your plates were up to date. Guess what? Our cars never passed because they were junk. We had one. My mom always said, when you get married, you make sure your wife has a car that runs. Okay. So she did. But so the deputy pulls us over, and I'll never forget. Of course, I was the big mouth. That's why I'm chief. I go, I got to tell Dad, Mom got a ticket. And I remember the sheriff's deputy leaned in. He had a belly like mine. He looks in. He goes, son, I'm not writing your mama a ticket. He had a little, what do we call that? Compassion. He saw this woman in a muumuu and a pair of flip-flops and thought, and all those kids, that poor woman. And so he didn't write her a ticket. What good would it have done? We couldn't even get a free lunch because my dad didn't believe in things for free, right? That came from that generation where you don't take anything for free. So, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. And usually I'm told to quiet down, but thank you. It's a first time for everything. So, free meals. We didn't get free lunches, so I was hungry. And so that's my excuse for being overweight today. I eat as much as I can now to stay up with it. But my point is compassion, treating people the way we want to be treated. We stop somebody, I always tell my officers, pretend they're your favorite uncle, your favorite aunt, your grandma, your grandpa. Treat them that way every time. Now, do some people fight with us? Yes. Do some people do this or that and we have to do something? Yes. That's what we have to do. We can't just let everybody run away, right? So, and I tell you the other story, Propositions 47, 57, and AB 109. If you don't know about those laws, research them. So, I don't know, a year ago, when the guy stole the truck from the dry cleaners and crashed it into the Jack in the Box there at 8th and Ramsey, this guy, those guys that have those really nice trucks, the ones I envy, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 pickup truck that one day I dream that I'll have. He stole that truck from this guy, totaled it, went through the drive-through, smashed, knocked down a light pole, the drive-through, hit another car. I don't know if it was totaled, but it was severely damaged. Totaled this $70,000 really nice pickup truck. Guy ran. We caught him. He went to jail. Before we could process the report, he was out of jail. And what was on the floorboard of that man's pickup truck? A card from the jail he had just been released for stealing cars. Winner right here in the front row. He stole, 3 or 4 cars that week. Nothing we can do to him. He's totaling $70,000 trucks, and he's walking right out of the jail faster than we can get the report called in. 3 and 4 times a week. Proposition 47, Proposition 57, AB 109. Your legislators have voted for these things and put them into law. And actually, they were propositions on the ballot. And former Governor Jerry Brown, this comes from your state Supreme Court for California, reprimanded him for deceiving the public into what propositions, what effect they would have on crime. He said it would lower crime. The antithesis, opposite of that. So when you say, hey, why can't the police department just lock them up? They're processed in an hour, and he's back out stealing cars. We chased a stolen motorcycle one day, tied up the whole department. Even I was out there running along the railroad tracks in my police car. I didn't get out. I'm smarter than that. I just followed him in my car. We caught the guy, stolen motorcycle. Guess what my officers tell me? He steals cars all the time. All the time. Does that frustrate you? If I had a $70,000, I can tell you this, the victim of that $70,000 truck, he goes, I'm going to take care of this myself. I go, don't do that. But that's how frustrating it is for us. So we're here to help. We'll lock up everybody we can, but just be prepared that if it's trespass or stealing your car, burglary, breaking into your house and stealing your property, identity theft, stealing your Social Security cards and your birth certificates and getting credit cards in your name and ruining your credit history, guess how long he'll be in jail? 1 hour. That's it, to process him out. Do you know how, I come from Indiana, spent 23 years in Indiana, and the laws aren't like that there. But in the great state of California, that's what we've passed. So I want you to know our frustration too. When you have a homeless guy here that's trespassing or defecating and stealing and vandalizing, you're like, only the cops would lock him up. What do we do about that, Lieutenant? He doesn't want to say. We issue him a summons, don't we? See, did you hear him? That's what we do. So when you see the bad guy walk away and you're like, why did the cops not do anything? I can't break the laws of the state of California. We have to obey them ourselves, right? So that's what we're up against. I don't know what else you want me to talk about. I think I've frustrated them enough. The reason I tell you all this is to give you just a little bit of the reality of what we deal with every day. And so when I get citizens to say, Chief Hamner, you came to my house and this guy stole my car right out of my driveway, and he was back at his house 60 minutes later. That's the law. You call any jurisdiction in the state of California, they'll tell you the exact same thing. Did you have a question? 3 years, 1 month, and a few days. But who's counting? Yeah, and I've been doing this 32 years. So I went through the academy here and graduated. And I just received the executive certificate, which is the highest certification a police officer can receive in the state of California, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom and the director of post, which is Manny Alvarez. So, thank you. Yes, ma'am. No. You guys still got to follow along. Lieutenant?
Do you have a course as a person, as a victim, or?
Is there anything else they can do?
It's up to the DA. Once we send that report, if they say we're going to file or not file, it's up to them if they want to file the report.
But even if they file and they get prosecuted, how much time do they get?
Probation.
So I'll tell you this. Let me have that microphone. This is going to shock you. Anybody who's lived here long enough, we had an Asian father and son that were shot and killed by 2 guys with shotguns just for the fun of it. They had broke down along the side of the road. Luckily, he had sent his wife and kids to a gas station to make a call. This was 25 years ago. Remember this? They filled the car full of shotgun blasts, blew the father and son away. The state of California wanted to release them because of the pandemic. You think I'm kidding? So Chad Bianco, your sheriff in Riverside County, the state refused to take all these adjudicated cases. So do you know that anybody who gets convicted of a misdemeanor and does less than a year does it in the county jail? Anybody who serves more than a year goes to the prison system. We had a backlog, what did I tell you, 2,000 or 3,000 inmates that the state just refused to take because it's a pandemic. So we were having to release bad guys, not just property crimes, burglary, auto theft, violent crimes, and put them back on the street because there's nowhere to put them. Go ahead. Okay, so here's my answer. That's a great question. So what do we do? In these circumstances, what's the answer? This is my answer. You call us, and I've directed Lieutenant Avila is over operations for the department. So he's out in making sure the sergeants and patrol officers and corporals are doing. I told him, I said, let's write the summonses. Let's book them and arrest them. Let's do everything they can to make their life uncomfortable. And just maybe they'll go somewhere else. That's all we can do. So I've told them, just because the system is broken doesn't mean we don't do our job. We're still going to do our job. Because that's a person crime, not a property crime. You're bad. So the difference is, I didn't hear that. You didn't hear the comment, I won't repeat it. So if you take a bat, she's saying, what if you go out there and try to defend your car from getting stolen, take a bat to them? If they find that you used more force than you should have, because the laws say you can't kill somebody to protect property. I said you can't kill him. She goes, didn't say you couldn't hurt him. Well, no, I can say this. This is your own discretion. But if you feel that you're in danger while you're trying to protect your property, just be able to articulate that. You know, talk to a lawyer. But I'm just telling you, the state believes that property is just property. Don't worry about it. Now, for those of us that work 2 or 3 part-time jobs on top of our full-time job and have 7 children, oh yeah, that's me. Not now, but back in the day, you stole my car. That devastated my family. So my wife was a stay-at-home mom. I had 7 children, and I worked full-time, and I worked 24 hours overtime a week, and I had a snowplow business, a grass-cutting business. I was president of the school board, and I had a security business. So I worked about 80, 85 hours a week with 7 kids because my wife didn't work, so to pay the bills. So if somebody had come to my house and stuck in my truck, it would have been devastating to my family. So when people say, well, it's just property, well, yeah, try doing what I did and then tell me it's just property. Now, that's different. Now, that's a great question. Someone's coming into your home, you have a right to use deadly force. So that goes back to the castle doctrine, which comes from England. It's common law. You have a right to protect your home and your curtilage, which means so you're out, here's your window, and you're outside your house working on grass, and someone approaches you like they're going to hurt you. You have a right to do what you have to do to defend yourself.
Chief, please repeat the questions.
We're not going to take any more questions right now because we have a whole nother program. So we will have the chief and Lieutenant Avila coming back again at another time where you can actually ask them questions.
That's great. So have us back for a Q&A.
Yes.
And I'll stand here as long as you want and ask me questions.
We will do that maybe July. We can do that. So
I told you I talked too much. You didn't believe me.
thank you, Chief. I appreciate you coming. Vince, thank you. Lieutenant Avila, thank you so much. We are now going to have Mike Romero from Securitas.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? My name is Mike Romero. I'm your Director of Security here at Sun Lakes. I've been here for 6 years, for those of you who haven't met me. It's nice to see you guys. I'm sure you've seen me out on the field or heard my voice over the phone. Just want to follow up with what Chief Manny said. There is hope. You guys can still do everything possible to protect yourselves. One of the main things that I have encountered lately is just unsecured doors. Garage doors left open, side gates left open. It is an open invitation, folks. Anybody who comes through and sees that is a potential risk for you. We want to avoid stuff like that. It's encouraged to always lock up your property. If you leave for out of town, even if it's for a few hours, you think you're going to go to one of our facilities, lock up. Don't leave your keys in your ignition. That's an invitation for somebody to take your car. I get numerous calls about theft incidents, about somebody taking a golf cart or their personal vehicle. My first question is, was the car in your ignition? Yes. Was your garage door open? Well, yes. That's not something you want to do. So definitely lock up as soon as you get a chance. Don't rely on the trust of your neighbors, because your neighbors might be busy doing something else and they can't keep an eye out on your property. The good thing is, excuse me, this year we've seen some changes. I've encouraged my patrol team to be out more visible in the community during our graveyard shifts, which means they're going to be driving out with their lights on. We want to be visible for the entire community. If you guys see us with our lights on, we're patrolling your district. If you see us pulling over for whatever reason, we're checking on something. We're checking the welfare on a resident. We're checking on a suspicious vehicle that might have been parked there for a long period of time. We want to know. I'd like to be in the know as well. I'm working with district delegates right now and trying to form a relationship with every district delegate so that you as a resident can reach out to your district delegates to raise your concerns. I am on top of those concerns. I work with a very tight team. My team, no exceptions. I expect nothing but the best from them regarding customer service, what the due diligence is expected, and what my demands are from them. If they don't meet any of that, let me know. I have no problem letting go of somebody that's not doing their job here at Sun Lakes. You guys have high expectations from us, and we want to fulfill those expectations as much as possible. Within the month of January and March, we had 3 successful arrests for trespassers. Rarely do you hear about that. But with me being in the position that I am, I want to be in the know, and I want to be out in the field as well. You will see me driving out. You will see me doing investigations. You will see me giving a ticket if I have to. I'm not just sitting in my office taking phone calls all day. I am involved as much as possible. So get involved with your district delegates. Find out what they can do for you so that way we can be on top of it and make those changes happen. With the arrests, Chief Manny's absolutely correct. They are released right away. But what we want to do is make it an inconvenience for them. If they are released and they try to attempt it again and they do get arrested again, it will be an inconvenience. They won't be able to come back thinking, I'm going to get arrested, spend a couple hours in jail. Should I go back? Probably not. So we want to make sure that they're on our radar as much as possible. We're working with the homeless situation also. With Banning PD, Chief Avila and I are going to get together. We're going to try to form a team in getting to know what's going on outside of Sun Lakes with our homeless, trying to get involved with them and try to help them out and try to prevent them from coming into the community. If we can deter that, it's going to be a successful mission. We want to make sure that the homeless are not in Sun Lakes. If you folks do see somebody suspicious, call us. Call us right away. We will dispatch ourselves out. I have dispatched myself out on a call several times. I will drop what I'm doing because I want to get to that location immediately and escort that person out. If they don't leave voluntarily, I will call Manning PD, have that person arrested. So again, it becomes an inconvenience for them, and that's what we want to do. Golf cart is an issue as well. I'm sure you've heard a lot of golf carts getting stolen here in the community. Again, I can't stress enough. Do not leave the keys in the ignition. It's that easy. Take the keys with you. It avoids your golf cart from being stolen. But I'm going to leave my email along with my business cards at the end of the table. If you folks have any questions or concerns regarding how security operates, leave me an email. Drop me an email. I check my emails periodically. I check them even when I'm at home. I'm 24 hours here on site. Even if I'm not on the site, I'm accessible outside of the site. I carry my company phone with me 24 hours a day. If it's 3 in the morning and there's an issue, I want my phone to ring. That's what I'm here to do. So I do want to let everybody know that I'm happy to serve the community. I've established a lot of relationships with a lot of the residents here, including the district delegates, board members, and I want us to make those changes as Securitas has nothing but the best customer service to offer, and I want to make sure that we represent ourselves that way for the community. So if you guys have any questions regarding our operations, my card will be in the back with my email information. Feel free to drop me a line. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you coming out here. Again, we'll have the police department and Securitas where you can actually have questions and they'll answer them. It's just too hard when we've got another program that we're going to be doing. So, let's see. Oh, so before we get started with our program, I would like to introduce our steering committee for the Community Awareness Program. And if our group would please stand, I have Jamie Taylor, Sally Jo Schwartz, Raynell English, Karen Daniels, Lois Jordan, and Virginia Cervantes, and Amy Wright. We meet once a month to get the programs arranged for you. We have been working very closely with Four Seasons since they have a neighborhood watch / community awareness program. Anita Worthen is their coordinator and has come to our meetings to give us ideas and suggestions on how to make our community better and safer. Their program is working wonderfully and they have a great working relationship with the Beaumont Police Department. So if you have any questions or you have any ideas on our program, please do not hesitate in contacting me, and especially if you have any ideas on things that you would like to see in the future. And I forgot to mention one other person that's here is Carol Spinden. Carol, would you stand up, please? She's also part of our program. Okay, so now I would like to introduce Cynthia Mendez and Irs Martinez. They're going to walk you through this program. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Mendez, and I have Irs Martinez with me today, and my supervisor, Jamie Jones. Thank you. We work for the Department of Public Social Services, Adult Services Division, and the program we represent is the CARE program. And today we're going to be talking about scams that we are seeing in Riverside County. And we'll go ahead and talk about the scams that we are seeing on a daily basis. Prevention is the key here. So we want you guys to know about the scams that are going on before you end up falling for them or sending money to somebody that is not who they say they are. And with that, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm also going to mention a few of the services Riverside County has for adults. And that is as of, I believe, January, it's 60 and above. So the first one is Adult Protective Services. This is the number you would call to report any kind of abuse or neglect, and as financial abuse as well. We also have what is the CARE program, which is the program we represent. We go out to the community and we talk about scams on what's going on in the area, and that's also our caseload, consumer fraud. We also have the Public Authority and In-Home Support Services. In-Home Support Services is a program that's designated for people to have caregivers in their home. This is Medicare based, so if you know anybody that might be in need of a caregiver and qualifies for Medicare, this would be the program, In-Home Support Services. And then there's the Public Authority. It's a registry of caregivers that are background checked, and they do different kinds of screening, and it's a registry. If somebody qualifies for the In-Home Support Services program, you could, and they don't have somebody to give for them, they could access this, the Public Authority, and they'll give them a registry of people that they try to match up with them. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of these programs. They're available for people 60 years old and older, and obviously Adult Protective Services for everybody. Next. So our program, CARE stands for Curtailing Abuse Related to the Elderly. It's a long name. There's a lot of CARE programs out there, but what we do, we go out to anybody that will have us, and we'll talk about scams, what's going on in the community. We also host a monthly meeting where we get together with law enforcement, the DA's office, anybody that works with seniors and dependent adults, and we try to work out cases together. We do have a statement of confidentiality statement that we sign so we can mention names and work through our cases together. So we meet once a month. There's 4 teams throughout Riverside County. And then, so our caseload is consumer fraud. We go and educate people, but if there's an issue with consumer fraud, you call the Adult Protective Services hotline, and then those cases get referred to the CARE program. So this is where you would report Adult Protective Services. It's an 800 number. You all received, and if you haven't, they're in the back. We have 2 books. One is called When Trust is a Weapon, and it has different scenarios about some scams that are going on, but in the back there's a lot of resources, and a lot of them are just specific to Riverside County, but it also has like the Social Security Office, the Department of Motor Vehicles, and it has a lot of good information. And so that's the hotline is also on the booklet, where you could report any type of abuse or neglect. Next. Okay. And these are some of the scams that we're seeing on a daily basis. Consumer fraud is always been around for, it's been around for a while. Government impersonators, you get calls or something saying you missed jury duty, and they're really nice to you, so they want your social security, your birthday, your driver's license, and they'll make you another appointment. Well, I don't know if any of you have ever gotten a call from jury duty. They don't usually call you. You get something in the mail. By the way, I got one. And then you show up. If you don't show up to your appointment, you'll get another one. But nobody will ever call you and ask for your social security number. The same with IRS. That one's gonna be big again because everybody's paying their taxes. So you'll get a call from the IRS saying that, you know, you haven't paid your taxes, but they're really nice to you, and they always want some kind of information or some cash. So we're gonna talk a little bit about each of them. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these in your computer saying that you have some type of virus. So basically they want you to call a number or go to a link. If you believe you have a virus in your computer, first of all, you just shut it down and it should restart, and then that should go away. But if you really have a virus, don't click on anything, you know, go and take it to the Geek Squad, or there's different companies now that could check it out. But in reality, they just want you to call either that number or click on a link, and then they'll ask for remote access to your computer. So keep in mind, when you give anybody remote access, you're letting them, it's like you being there at that time. So they can check out your bank statements, they could, anything you have in their pictures, they have access to. So please don't give remote access to anybody. Doesn't matter who they say they are. Your bank, whoever it is, that never give remote access, please. We had a little video and somehow it's not playing, but he's just saying what happened to him, that he did that. He clicked and then they told him to send money because he had a virus and they were gonna install something. And sometimes they even go into your bank account and transfer funds to somewhere else. So you never, ever, just keep this in mind, don't ever give remote access to anybody. They always try to scare you. I always hear people say, well, they said there's a warrant for my arrest, so I just did what they told me to do. I forgot to ask them, but I'm sure they don't call people and say, there's a warrant, we're gonna come get you, right? That's not how law enforcement works. So if somebody's telling you that there's a warrant for your arrest and they're gonna come get you if you don't pay them money, that's not how it works. You know, they don't call people and tell them, we're gonna come and get you. They just go and get them, right? So they try to scare people. In a lot of cases, like my parents, my dad does all the bills, so my mom never knows, you know, how much something was that month. So, but imagine like when that person is gone and now, you know, she didn't know that he might have not paid the taxes and it is the IRS calling or something. So they get scared and they're like, oh, maybe he didn't pay the taxes, and then they end up sending money, right? So sometimes it's like, well, I can't believe they fell for it, but in reality, you gotta think, you know, back in the day, things were done a little bit different. So a lot of people don't have, or they don't have that, you know, a child or somebody look out for them, so they fall for things like this. So you always want to be careful, you know, and report to us if you see somebody doesn't have a family member and it's falling for maybe sweepstake scams, or, you know, you see something going on with them. It's better to be safe than sorry, you know. You don't have to prove anything. Just if you suspect something's going on, just call Adult Protective Services. They'll send a social worker to just make sure they're okay. So please keep that in mind. You don't have to prove anything. If you just see that person, you know, she used to do her hair all nicely, and all of a sudden the grandson moved in, and now she seems like a little bit scared, or just anything that you suspect is going on with somebody. It's always better to be, safe than sorry. So keep that in mind as well. And then these are the IRS, Social Security, and Medicare. Sometimes we've had clients tell us, well, somebody came to my door and they said they were from Social Security and they could offer me more benefits. So they asked me for my driver's license, for all my information, which would be maybe something you would do when you went to the Social Security office. But in reality, Social Security is not gonna come to your house or call you and offer more services. They never visit you at home, so keep that in mind. And somebody's saying they're from Social Security, just call the police or shut your door, because that's not how they work. The same with Medicare. They're not going to call you and offer you more services. If you need more services, people usually call and ask if they qualify for more stuff, and then they would be able to tell you, but nobody comes to your door and offers you more services, not for Medicare. So IRS, these scams sometimes require you to go to Walmart and get gift cards, and that's how you pay the IRS. Just keep in mind, gift cards are a gift. So if somebody's telling you to pay with gift cards, anything with gift cards, please don't. That's not how they work. Gift cards is a gift. This is a big one. They call you and they say they accidentally deposited too much money, and this is your bank. So all you have to do is give them remote access so they could, put it back, or they tell you to go to the store and then get a check and send it back to them, because they're gonna get in trouble. So then you realize that it was your own money being moved around by them. So if somebody's calling you saying it's your bank and they accidentally did something wrong, please hang up and don't, talk to them or anything, because your bank, I've never heard of them putting too much money in somebody's account, but if that ever happens, they'll take it back themselves. They're not gonna call you and say, hey, give me access to your computer so I could put it back. Okay, there's the IRS impersonators. The FBI does want you to report it to ic3.gov. It's also on your booklets. They do want to know where they're coming from, or how many of these they're getting, because they're impersonating them. So they do want to know about it. So there's a website where you can report it. And that was also a video of a person saying what had happened to them. So it's basically, that they got a phone call and somebody was saying that it was Social Security, I believe. I apologize. I don't know why it's not playing the videos today. The Amazon scam, that one's big too. So you get a lot of people after COVID started ordering a lot of things through Amazon. They didn't want to go shopping, so they were getting delivered to their home, and you get an email saying that your account has been compromised. So people are like, oh no, what happened? So they click on links or they call the numbers, and it happens to be a fake, somebody fake on the other line, so they end up taking information again, because you do have to put your credit card. So please keep that in mind, that they'll try anything to get your money. Okay, healthcare questions. I don't know if you guys have heard of HiCap. It's an agency that can give you advice if you want to change, your insurance plan, and it's for free. They're a government agency. And also their information is on the back of the white booklet. If you have any questions and you're trying to change insurances, maybe you don't like the one you're at, or your Medicare, they can answer. They sit down with you. Even if you want to bring them here, they'll sit down with anybody that has questions, and they'll go over like what doctors you have, what medications you take, and they'll kind of they won't tell you who to take or who to go with, but they'll, educate you on what is the best thing, or if you have questions, what is the best thing that you might want to do. And now I will, probably tired of hearing me, but here's a lovely Liz, and she will continue with the presentations. We'll go ahead and take questions towards the end.
Thanks, Cynthia. Okay. So this is ID theft. Everybody hear me okay? Closer? There we go? Okay. So ID theft is when someone steals your identity. They can steal your social security number or be able to access any other pertinent information about you. They use this to take out credit cards in your name or get loans and other things like that. So the most important thing you can protect is your identity. Always make sure you keep that information close to you and don't give it out to anybody you don't know. They can steal your mail, your bank statements, change of address forms. They sometimes go dumpster diving, or they'll get access to your computer that way. Never throw away ATM receipts, credit card statements, bank statements. You always want to shred these things. Don't just throw them into the trash. People who go dumpster diving, they often will pull this out, and then they'll get your information that way. A good thing to invest in would be a shredder in your home. You can always have your documents shredded at the monthly shredding events that they have in the community. I know we have a lot down in the desert. Oh, it's okay. Oh, I think you skipped a couple. There you go. So decrease your risk, shred sensitive papers before discarding. Guard your social security number. Always make sure you keep that to yourself. Don't carry your card with you unless you're going someplace where you're going to need it. Always keep it maybe at home in a safe place. Carry only the credit cards you'll need that day. So if you don't need to carry all your cards in your wallet in case your wallet is ever stolen, just carry whatever you're going to need for whatever you're going out for that day. And make sure you change your passwords frequently. Don't be like me and use the same password for everything. Change your passwords, use different things. Don't use your dog's name 75 times. If you are a victim of identity theft, there's a lot of resources that can help you. You can contact your bank and any other companies. Let them know that you've been a victim of identity theft so they're aware of it and on the lookout for fraudulent charges. You can place a fraud alert on your social security number so that Social Security is aware that there might be some activity on your social security card that's not you. You can close any fraudulent accounts and just report ID theft to local law enforcement. Always make a police report to any time that you're a victim of identity theft. So this is a scam that's very popular. It's what's called just the grandma and grandpa scam, but it's kind of progressed over the years to someone who tells you that there may be a family member and they're in distress for something. They're in a foreign country and can't get home. They have unforeseen medical bills and they need you to wire money. So they'll impersonate someone you know. I see a lot of it coming through also in an email. Someone will email you impersonating someone that you know and say, I need you to send money. And a lot of times they don't want you to tell someone else about what's going on because they say they're embarrassed or there's not enough time. They want to create a sense of urgency that you need to help this person right away. So our best thing to tell you is to call someone and verify the information. If it's an email, call the person who says they're emailing you, or call a family member who knows the both of you and verify the information. Never send them money without doing your cross-checking first. A sweepstake scam is a scam where they tell you you won money or maybe a car or some other prize, but unfortunately you have to give them money first before you can collect the prize. So this is a fraudulent thing that you never have to give money to collect money. If they say that you won it in another country, unless you were in that country and played the lottery or the sweepstakes, you couldn't have won. It's illegal. So be on the lookout for anybody who tells you you won money, but you need to give them money first. So this is sweetheart and dating scams. This is someone who you might meet at the grocery store, or maybe someone you meet at a local gym or someplace where you're going, and they befriend you. Also, someone you may meet online. There's a lot of people that are doing online dating now, and they get people who want to befriend them and take care of them, and turns into, can you loan me some money, or my car broke down, or I need you to send me some gift cards or some credit cards. You might never even meet this person in person. You only know them online, so they can be anybody they want to be. So always double check. Check things in the emails such as grammar mistakes. That's very common in fraudulent emails, that they have grammar mistakes. They might propose marriage or some kind of maybe moving in together right away. They'll ask you to make changes to your will, or changes to them, put them in power of attorney over your finances so that they have control over your money. They might want to restrict you from going and seeing people that you've always seen before, because they don't want those people to say, maybe you should really check this out, it might not be on the up and up. So just be careful with anybody you meet online or even in person. Oh, okay. So this right here is a picture of a gentleman, and I believe that he was talking to a woman online, and he was using this picture saying this was his identity. And they did a check through the computer, and they found that this picture was used multiple times by many different scammers trying to get money. So whoever this gentleman was, he was not the one that everybody thought he was sending money to. Unfortunately, this was another video we were going to show. This was a video about online romance and imposters and things you can do to protect yourself. All of these videos are available on ftc.gov if you ever want to view them. They're very informative, and I recommend them. These are things from the FTC. These are 10 things you can do to avoid fraud. So spot imposters. Scammers pretend to be someone that you trust so that you'll trust them to give money or whatever else they're asking for. Do online searches. Always check the company that's calling and asking you for money, or whoever they're pretending to be, so make sure you do your research about a company before you use them. Don't believe your caller ID. Sad to say, but scammers have tools where they can impersonate any number now. So even though your caller ID may say that the person who's calling you is from your area code, they could be in an entirely different country. Don't pay upfront for a promise. So someone might ask you to pay in advance for something that you're purchasing. Don't pay in advance. They have no reason to finish the job or give you the item if they've already gotten their money. They most likely will take the money and leave. Consider how you pay. Credit cards are actually a good way to pay because it's easier to track and easier to report when there's financial fraud. Cash is obviously the hardest, and gift cards as well. Talk to someone before you give money or personal information. Talk to someone you trust. Call a relative. Say, this is what's going on. Make sure you verify the information before you give anybody information or money. Hang up on robocalls. I know we're all getting about 1,000 robocalls a day now. So if you don't know the number, don't answer it or just hang up. Be skeptical about free trial offers. Usually there's a lot of strings attached when you're getting a free trial offer, so just be careful about what you buy. Never deposit a check and wire money back. This is called money mule or wire fraud. They want you to deposit the money that you get in your bank, you send it back to them, the check wasn't any good, so by the time the bank catches up, you're out the funds that you sent to the scammer. So always be cautious about taking money you don't know where it came from. So these are some areas of consumer fraud you always want to be aware of. Auto sales and repair, charity, contractors, that's a big one. Credit cards, handymans, insurance, medical, a lot of stuff with COVID right now. Be careful, people would want to charge you money for anything COVID related, vaccines or tests or anything like that. Be cautious. Real estate, sweepstakes, and telemarketing.
I just want to remind you guys, when you hire a contractor, try to get somebody with a license. Check out their license before you hire somebody. There's on the, I believe it's the Blue Book, you can check out their license, because if they have a legitimate license, it'll show who can work under that license. It shows if they have bad reviews. It shows everything. So please hire somebody with the license. Sometimes we think it's cheaper to get somebody down the street, but keep in mind that also if something happens to that person in your property, you're liable for that. And when you get somebody with the license, they have their own insurance. So keep that in mind. Also get 3 estimates at least, because sometimes we get reports saying, well, I want to complain about so-and-so because he charged me $20,000 and it should have been 10 because my neighbor got it for 10. The California State Licensing Board won't go after somebody because they charged you too much. It's like shopping at Macy's or shopping at Walmart. You choose who you shop with. So please get 3 estimates, and then you choose the one you want to get. Please keep that in mind, because it's not fraud if somebody told you up front how much they were going to charge you and you agreed, right? So please keep that in mind. We do get a lot of complaints like that, and it's not fraud. It's just, you didn't do your homework. So please do your homework, get at least 3 estimates, and they can never get more than 10% or $1,000, whichever is less. So if a contractor is telling you, well, give me 20 because I don't have money for the materials, you don't want to hire this contractor because they're already shady. So if they're telling you they need your money to buy the materials, please don't do business with them, okay? They cannot charge you more than $1,000 or 10%, whichever is less. So keep that in mind.
We recommend you check your credit report at least once a year. It is free, so don't let anybody say that you have to pay money for it. You can log on to annualcreditreport.com. It's also in the booklet. You can call that number there, it's listed on the screen, which is also in the booklet. And you get 1 free credit report per year, so just make sure no one's taking out anything in your name. Remember, anyone can be a criminal, family, friend, stranger, young or old, and the only way to stop them is to report and protect yourselves from being a victim. Anybody have any questions? Do you want me to go?
If you have questions, we're going to come around to you, Virginia. Please speak in the mic so they can hear, so everybody can hear you. Lois had a question. Did you have a question? Oh, sorry. I didn't see your hand up.
Is this good? I'm wondering about social media. Have you heard anything about online shopping? I don't know if you're on Facebook or whatever, but a lot of times they have advertising for beautiful clothes, this and that. Have there been any issues in terms of people reporting problems buying? Okay.
I haven't gotten any. Have you gotten?
You wouldn't see online shopping, you mean buying things like from Amazon or?
Yeah, so definitely Amazon is probably our #1 issue. So tons of emails come out, people buying things that it's not a legitimate website. Thank you, thank you. So one thing that we tell people is to, let's say you're on Facebook and you see this beautiful dress, you're like, that's what I want to have. Don't go through the Facebook link. What I would do is go completely out, go to that website directly, and then you know that it's not, moving you all over the place. Who knows where it's going to end up? So never go through any links directly. You get the email from Amazon. There's a problem with your account. Don't go through the email. Go out of your email, go into Amazon directly. Then it will save you a lot of issues, and then you know who you're dealing with directly. Good question.
Good to know. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, any other questions? Sure.
How about phone calls from the police department or the fire department requesting a donation?
Well, again, I wouldn't give money by anybody who solicits me anyway, by phone, by email. I would never give that directly. If someone calls you from the fire department asking for money, I would just decline, hang up. But if that's something that you wanted to do, then call them directly and say, do you have this campaign going on? I would like to give. But I would never, ever give any information over the phone, ever. Just this morning, I got a call from Border Patrol who told me that I had a package that they were keeping, and I am now a criminal involved in a criminal activity because this package that came internationally is now being held there, and I need to talk to an agent immediately or I'm going to be arrested. I was like, okay, so click, right? Just hang up, don't engage, press 1 to talk to the agent. There's no need. This is just stuff that's never going to be legitimate. Yep. Do you have another question? I got a mic too.
I get a lot of requests through the mail asking me for money. How do we know which ones are legitimate and what is not?
No, absolutely great questions. Mail's kind of like the phone calls. Anybody can just mass email people, mass send mailings to people, mass phone call people. Go to them directly. I wouldn't call anything on there. I would go on the internet, talk to your sons, grandkids, if the internet, or if we're not technologically savvy, which I don't know, and then go to that site directly. Yep, because you're welcome. Sure.
You mentioned that we should report anything that looks fishy.
Yep.
You mentioned that we should report anything that looks fishy. I might get at least 5 emails a day. The most recent was from Dr. Jill Biden. And do you want those all reported?
Well, no. If somebody's saying they're the IRS, you do want to report it to the IC3 website. That's any internet crime that you want to report, you could report there. Not to Adult Protective Services, because in reality, we can't do anything about that. Even law enforcement. But if you do become a victim of anything like, oh, they did take my Social Security, or you do want to do a police report for the purpose of your protection, because if you have to deal with the banks or the credit card agencies, that's something that will help you know that they'll alert them that you were a victim of identity. So that's for that purpose. Most of these crimes occur like overseas, and I mean, it's really hard to track them because anybody with a computer can say they are whoever they say they are. But you do want to protect yourself, and if a credit card comes after you like, wait, somebody stole your identity and now you owe us money, you have that police report, and the credit agencies should alert the other credit agencies.
I'd like to mention something. My husband and I, we have a contracting business out in the desert, and he just told me yesterday, he says, would you believe I've been doing this for 40 years? And I said, yes, but she's right. Remember, any contractor, even if your neighbor has used them or not, and they did a big job that should have been $10,000, and they're going to charge you $2,000, and they need the money, again, for materials or to pay their workers or for gas, don't do it. Because if you look up my husband's company, he's on the California Contractors Board. He's bonded. He has insurance, general liability, workers' comp insurance, commercial auto insurance. So you can always look that up, and you can ask the contractor for that information. If it's a good contractor, he'll have his contractor licensing card with him. He'll have his bond card with him. And he should have paperwork regarding his workers' comp and liability with them. At least I make sure my husband has all that in his truck. But yes. It's an evidence of insurance, yes. And also, yes, and if someone's going to be at your job longer than 2, 3, 4 weeks, you can ask him to call his insurance company, get the workers' comp insurance, and you can be one of the certificate holders on that certificate. This way, his company will be liable for any injury. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. We really enjoyed
Thank
that.
you.
Gave us some good information. I
you.
appreciate you coming out here. They're from Palm Desert. So it wasn't like they were around the corner.
But please feel free to call us. Our number, I mean, you can report anything to Adult Services, and somebody will come out. But we're Riverside County, so anywhere will come out.
Thank you again.
You.
So just to let you know, we'll be having one of these presentations once a month. Our next presentation will be on 4/21, and it's going to be waste management. And they're going to give us all kinds of different information. I know that they had something from the Garden Club, I believe, that was here. We're going to have a completely different group of people that are here, and they're going to give us some good information. If anybody is interested in becoming part of our group, call me, let me know. I lost a couple people, unfortunately. It wasn't good for their schedule. And so if anybody's interested in being on the steering committee, we have a couple of openings. And if you have any questions at all about anything pertaining to the police department, again, Matt Hamner was amazing. He's got a great sense of humor. And Vince Avila also, Lieutenant Avila. If you didn't pick up any brochures, we have brochures in the back, so feel free to take those brochures. And again, if you have any questions at all, let me know. And I thank you for attending, and have a good afternoon.